All right, here we are. Christy Mattoon here, your subconscious change expert. Super excited to be doing this. This is the fun part. This is where the action starts happening. We get to start playing inside the subconscious mind a little bit. I'm going to teach you how to do the balance procedure itself, so that anything that you have going on, you can be able to clear it easily and quickly in the moment. You don't have to sit there and suffer with it. And then stuff from the past, while it might take a little bit more effort, it's actually just as easy. So we're going to start to come against these things right now. And here we go. So I want you to go take a look in the course itself and find the area inside of Module 4 and print out the balance change procedure worksheet. There is a worksheet in there that you can print out. That will be handy to have. You can make notes on it. You can follow along on it. It'll make this whole thing probably a little bit easier. Also print out the sheet that says good statements to balance. And because that's what we're actually going to be using to practice with, we're going to practice with some of those statements and just get those out of the way. And hopefully you'll be able to feel and know a difference by doing that. And then you can also make sure you have gone through the different sections, Module 2, Module 3, and in Module 4, where you have done work on establishing communication with your system. So you have that ability, and you can feel the chemical fluctuations inside your body, or you have developed a pretty decent sense of muscle testing. Even if you haven't, this will work either way, but it's more fun, and it's actually easier to know what you're balancing if you can feel it in your system, and it just makes you more aware. So have all of that stuff printed out. If you don't have it, go ahead and turn this video off and print it out, and then come right back and we will keep going. All right, here we are. We are going to start right at the top of your worksheet for the balance procedure. And step 1 is establishing communication. So you're going to feel your body and you're going to do your muscle test, whichever way you're doing it. If you've gone through those videos, you understand what this little box actually means, where you're thinking of something you like, thinking of something you dislike, and then just feeling the difference in between the two. Your true and false statement actually has to do with your name. So my name is, and it's emphatically stating your name like you know who you are, and then using a different name and doing the same thing. So you get a true false read. And then also yeses and nos. So I'm going to have you turn the video off, go ahead and establish communication with yourself, and then come right back, and then we will keep going. All right, step 2, you should have effectively established communication at this point. So you've done your like and dislike, you felt that in your system, your true and false, and your yes and your no. If you were getting off reads, make sure you're drinking water. You can also just put yourself in a whole brain posture for a couple of minutes and then come back and test again. If that was the case, I'm hoping you did that, so you're ready to go. And we're moving right into step 2. So you're going to muscle test or feel your system for your belief statement. And we're going to use a statement in this sense for this particular balance. So using a statement, we're going to pick one off of the sheet that I had you print out. Let me find my copy here, the good statements to balance sheet. So we're going to just use the one that says, I love myself, because that's something that quite a few people struggle with. So we'll start there. So you're going to say this phrase, I love myself, and then feel it in your system and just notice what you're feeling. All right. My thought process on this is that if you're saying a statement like that and you don't know whether you do or not, you probably need to balance it. But I still like people to feel it in their system. If you're feeling it in your body or muscle testing it and it's strong, it means you already believe the statement. There's no subconscious stress to it. If it goes weak, it means you need to balance it. So we're going to go ahead and balance this statement. We're just going to assume everybody went weak on it. So now I want you to say the statement again. You're going to say, I love myself. And notice how you feel inside your body. And then I want you to use a scale of 0 to 10 and rate this in your system. All right, so rate how this makes you feel. And we're using actually a pain scale. Let me see if I can pull this up right here. The assessment scale below is important because it gives you a number, it gives you something to look at before and after. So this one specifically was made for pain, but pain, emotional, mental, physical, I think it all kind of works the same. So if there's no pain and you're a 0, the further you go up the scale, it's getting worse and worse and worse until you're a 9 or 10, and it couldn't be any worse if you tried to make it worse, right? That's the worst pain you've ever been in your life. So if you say, I love myself, and you're getting a queasy feeling, or you're getting a flattening feeling, or a weighted feeling, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate that in your system? And so now is when it's a good time to have your journal out or your notebook out, and you're going to write in your journal, I love myself. And then you're going to write in your journal on the scale of 1 to 10 what number you assessed yourself at. The reason I write all this stuff down is so I don't forget. Because sometimes when we do a balance, it can be such a profound shift, you really don't even remember what your statement was to start with. And so we want to actually pre and post test the exact same statement, so that's why I write those down. All right, so once you've got your scale of 1 to 10 right there, we're going to move right on to step 3. And now you're going to determine your crossover pattern. So your crossover pattern is from the whole brain state and to the statement itself. And you should have gone through this already in a previous module or a previous section. So to get your whole brain state, you're just going to cross your ankles and you're going to say the statement, feel it in your system, and then cross the opposite direction and just notice which way felt stronger. So if I cross my ankles left over right and I say I love myself, I'm just going to feel that. And then I'm going to cross right over left and I'm going to say I love myself. And I'm going to feel that. And then you're going to stay the way that feels the most comfortable. And then you're going to do the same thing with your wrists. Right over left, I love myself, feel it. Left over right, I love myself, feel it. And once you've got the proper pattern, that's the way you're going to sit. And you're going to close your eyes. You can drop your hands down into your lap, or you can lock your fingers together and curl up with yourself. Close your eyes, and then you're silently repeating this statement until you feel a shift, mentally, physically, or emotionally. And that's your indication that the resistance is gone and the new belief is in place. All right, so you're going to close your eyes and you're silently repeating, I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. In this whole brain pattern, you're allowing your brain to open up and stabilize differently to this statement to come up with a different idea about it. So you're going to end up with a whole different place by the time you're done. You will sit here for 2 to 5 minutes. Make sure that you're breathing, inhaling and exhaling while you're whispering this over and over and over to yourself. And if you're in the balance right now, you can go ahead and shut this video off. Finish letting it balance. Once you feel that shift, come back to the video. All right, if you're back on the video, I'm assuming that you had let that finish shifting. It can take 2 to 5 minutes, so make sure you're aware of that. If you're not sure if you felt a shift, go back in and sit for a few more minutes. You honestly can't do this too long, so sit there a little bit longer if you need to. And then to lock in the change, you're going to bring your fingertips together, keep your eyes closed for 10 seconds, thinking about the best feeling in that process. Eyes are closed for 10 seconds. And then you're going to open your eyes. And I realize that so cross that word out on your sheet and write eyes open for 10 seconds or even longer sometimes until you feel like it's locked in totally into your system. Okay, once you've got it locked in, we're moving to step 4, and this is your post test. You're going to say your statement out loud. So the exact same statement we used before was I love myself, and then feel your body. And notice what the difference feels like. If you're actually muscle testing, you should have the opposite muscle test. Verify that the response is strong or positive. And then on a scale of 0 to 10, again, I want you to go back and re-rate it. How does it feel now? If you were feeling like a 7 or 8 before, it should be quite a bit lower. And that's about how fast it takes to do a balance. That was it right there in a nutshell. So on your good statements to balance sheet, you can now check off, I love myself. notice how you feel. Here's what I tell everybody when I'm working with them up front. I tell people to go ahead and step out into their day and just notice how you feel different. You're not trying to force anything. You're not really doing anything different specifically, but just go out and notice. Notice how the world looks different to you when you love yourself. All right, let's do another one. Let's go back to establishing communication. Once you've done that, you can do a few balances at a time without reestablishing, unless you notice that you're really starting to get weird reads, or you're really not sure. And when that happens, I just tell folks to stop. Make sure you drink water while you're doing this. You want to keep really well hydrated. If you need to stop for a second, just not thinking about anything and sit in the whole brain posture, just pick a direction on your wrists and your ankles and just hang out for a couple of minutes and let your system restabilize. All right, so let's pick another statement. What should we do now? Let's do I'm in charge of my life. I like that one. All right, so I'm in charge of my life is your statement. So we're going to say the statement, I'm in charge of my life. And then feel it in your body. What did you feel? Mine felt pretty super strong, but I do this all the time. And here's a little tip for you. Even when you do it with other people, you kind of vicariously get the balance too. And I think that's just a really cool part of this kind of work. So for me, when I say I'm in charge of my life, that feels really super strong because we do that balance a lot for folks. I do it with folks a lot. So if you felt it weak, we're going to go on and scale it. So on a scale of 0 to 10, how do you rate that in your system? So for me, that would feel like a 0. That was at peace. There was nothing there, right? I just felt super strong to it. And once you have your rating, you're going to go on to the change belief in step 3. You're going to find your crossover pattern. So saying I'm in charge of my life, cross your ankles, left over right, and then right over left. Make sure you've written your statement down. Write down your scale. You can even write down what way you're crossing down your ankles and your wrists. Sometimes what I'll do is write down a W, and then I'll write, R over L or L over R for right over left or left over right. Sometimes you do need to go back in and switch pattern and do it again, and you'll feel that if you need to do it. It's kind of interesting. So find your crossover pattern at your ankles and then find the one at your wrists. Sometimes too, I've had people say it feels the same. I'm not feeling any difference. Pick the direction that's the most comfortable. That's the easiest way to do this. All right, and then close your eyes. And again, you're repeating that belief silently until you feel a shift, mentally, physically, or emotionally. And your statement is, I'm in charge of my life. I'm in charge of my life. I'm in charge of my life. You're going to repeat that over and over. It can take up, 2 to 5 minutes. I want you to go ahead and turn this video off until you feel your shift. Make sure you're breathing, and when you've got it, turn it back on and come back. All right, nice. Here we are. So you're back again. So now we're going to uncross everything, and now you're going to lock in the change, bringing your fingertips together. Close your eyes for 10 seconds. Again, saying the statement or feeling the best feeling in that process. You can do either. Feeling the best feeling. I like doing that one. 10 seconds and then 10 seconds again with your eyes open until you feel that it's fully locked in. Nice. All right, now say it again. So you're going to say your statement one more time. I am in charge of my life. And then just notice what you're feeling. How does it feel different than it felt before? If you don't feel like it's as strong of a feeling as you want, but you got a little bit of a shift, go back in. Maybe find a different crossover pattern, see if you're feeling it differently in your system, and sit for another couple minutes. On a scale of 1 to 10, you'll go ahead and rate it, and then celebrate. I didn't say this on the last one. At the bottom it says celebrate, and then what did you notice, feel, see, etc. Write all this stuff down because you really want to know. And what you're doing when you're writing it down is you're sealing in that neuroplasticity. The more you go over it, the more you talk about it to yourself, the more you're going to have that in your system, and the more you're going to be able to really feel and know that it's changed, okay? And really celebrate that. Get excited about it, because every time you celebrate, you're giving yourself a good dose of oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, some of those kind of neurochemicals that just seal all this good stuff in. So we want to seal that in with a good celebration and have that memory of that change and that belief being put in your system, dripping with these good chemicals. All right? So here we go again. Let's pick another one. What should we do this time? Let's do, there's all kinds of stuff on here. Let's do I know who I am. This is kind of a funny one, because some people will say this statement and they're like, oh, that's really weird. And then it'll test low, you know, it'll test false. And it's kind of wiggy that way. That's a reversal in your system, because you really do know, you know, on a conscious level, you are who you are. You're Christy, you're this, that, you're the other thing. But if you don't know who you are on a subconscious level, and that's reversed in there, that can be kind of a mess in your system. And so straightening something like that out is just really, really pretty cool. So before we start this one, because we've already done two, I want you to go ahead and take a big drink of water. We're going to slow down for a second, take a couple of nice deep breaths. All right. And now we're going to go back, and we are doing I know who I am. That's your statement. So you're going to say your statement and just feel it. I know who I am. If it's strong, that means your subconscious already believes the statement. You don't need to balance it. If it's weak, move on to step 3. But before you do step 3, let's get that scale. 0 to 10, how does that feel in your system? 10 is the worst, 0 is the best. So if you forget that, remember this little scale down here. 0 is no pain, 10 is the most pain. All right, so we're on step 3, determine your crossover pattern. It's crazy that this is how easy it is. Don't you think this is crazy? Determine your crossover pattern. So ankles first, and then your wrists. Find the way that feels the strongest. And you're just going to simply close your eyes, and you're repeating to yourself, I know who I am. I know who I am. I know who I am. Until you feel that mental, physical, or emotional shift, which is your indication that the resistance is gone to that statement. And then you can open your eyes. Make sure you're breathing. Go ahead and turn off the video for a second, a couple of minutes, and let that do its work. And then you'll come back. All right, we're on step 3, number 4. We're going to lock in the change to the statement, I know who I am. You felt your change, it feels better in your system, and now you're bringing your fingertips together. Find the best feeling in that process. The best feeling in that process. Close your eyes for 10 seconds, just holding on to that best feeling. Feel it inside your system. And sometimes people will start to feel energy between the palms of their hands. You can allow that energy to keep growing and growing and growing until it literally pushes your fingers apart, and then you can just pull it inside your body wherever you feel like you need it. Right? That's kind of one of the cool things about this, is it really starts engaging your body on different levels. All right, so 10 seconds with your eyes closed, unless you're playing with the energy of it, and then in that case, just let it keep growing, and then pull it into you. And then eyes open until you feel like it's locked in. And then we're going to post-test. Say it out loud. I know who I am. Feel your body. What does it feel like? Do your muscle test. Is it strong or weak? If it's strong, you've got it. Celebrate. Put it back on a scale. How do you feel now? And then write down, what did you notice, feel, see? Right? What changed for you? What was the feeling in that? What was the sense in that? What was the sense of it? Not in it. What was the sense of it? All right, write all these things down. Okay, take a nice deep breath. This time we're going to swap it up a little bit. So those were all statements. That's how you seed your mind with statements. And what you're doing is overriding the neuroplasticity. Okay, you're overriding whatever's in there by putting this stuff on top of it. If you actually have a big issue or something going on that you just can't seem to bust up, or a pattern or a cycle that keeps happening, The easiest way I have found to do it, and you can overwrite that too with something positive, but it seems to take a little bit longer to really take hold. We can go in the same way, and so you're actually balancing the issue itself, the memory, the situation, instead of balancing a statement. So we're actually going to do that this time. We're going to pick an issue, a memory, or a situation that just seems to come back and get you all the time, and I'll give you one of mine. And this was a pretty big one, so you can either do this or you can do something else, whatever you want to do. Mine was with my mother. All right, so my issue with her goes really far back, like most mothers do. And I don't know, it was a lot of stuff. And so what the gal that was working with me when I was doing this way back called it was a mama drama balance. So she just told me everything mama, pull it up, good, bad, or indifferent. Pull everything that you can think of, start at the age you are right now and walk backwards in time until, like, just thinking everything. Do it like a fast video clip. Don't stick on any one issue too long. You can also just feel the energy of it. If you can feel, like, if you get nauseous, if you get kind of a weird feeling in your gut when you think about your mother or whatever your issue is, just feel the edge of that feeling. You don't even have to pull up the memory to it. All right, so, but if you are pulling up the memory, or if a memory comes, don't stay on the memory. Rush it by like it's a fast video going in, fast forward, really super fast. All right, so you're going to pull that up in your system and then put it on the scale of 0 to 10. How does that make you feel when you feel that energy to that situation or when you think about that memory? Get your scale written down, and you're going to go right into determining your crossover pattern. It's the exact same way. We do a statement, ankles first and then wrists. Take a couple nice deep breaths and then close your eyes. And instead of silently repeating the belief statement, you're just going to sit and feel the energy to it. If you have a video clip created, that fast video clip, you can run that over and over and over and over and over until you feel a shift mentally, emotionally, or physically. And that shift is going to actually be in regards to your perception of the issue, the situation, or the memory. Your perception will actually change right in front of your eyes. This can take up to 5 minutes. If it's an emotionally charged issue, you can get a little bit of an emotion to it. If you are getting emotional, try and just stick with the feeling. All right, you don't have to go into it. Take a few nice deep breaths and just hang in there. You're on for about 5 minutes. If you want to, go ahead and turn off this video and let that do its job. All right, so once you've got your change, just notice how you're feeling. Open your eyes, take a few deep breaths. Let's unwind everything. And to lock in the change, it's the same thing. Fingertips are together, close your eyes. Think about the best feeling that you had in that process. It's usually when it starts to break apart, that really, like, the best feeling you had. And again, if you want, you can let that energy grow in between the palms of your hands. If it starts pushing your hands apart, just bring that energy into your body wherever you feel like it needs to go. And then with your eyes closed, or open this time, so it's closed first and then open, until you feel like it's fully locked into every cell of your body. Nice. Take a deep breath. Here's how a post-test on something like this works. I want you to sit and just breathe for a couple of seconds. Take another drink of water. Give yourself a little bit of space here. And then what you're going to do is think about the thing you just balanced again, the issue, the memory, the situation. And just notice what looks different. Notice what seems different. Notice what feels different. Go ahead and throw it back on the scale of 0 to 10. How does it rate now? What are you noticing? What are you sensing? What are you feeling? Write it down. Right? Take another few deep breaths, hang out for a few more minutes, and then come back and notice it again and notice what changed. Here's what I found with most people is this will keep shifting over the next 48 to 72 hours. Right? So this will keep doing its job, and the more you breathe with it, keep your body oxygenated and a lot of water, hydrated, this will keep shifting for you. All right, if you find it or feel like it's revving back up, go back into your whole brain state. That's as easy as it is to stop an anxiety issue. Every time something comes up into your system, this is the fastest way to come against it. A lot of times people say, you know, when you're saying something negative to yourself, you have to counter it immediately, which is a brilliant idea, right? If something is negative in your head, counter it as fast as you can with something positive once you notice it. Or you can put it into a whole brain state and totally shift your perception of it. Because putting yourself in a whole brain state just breaks this whole thing down, right? Because you're creating a new stability inside your brain to the issue, to the emotion in regards to whatever the situation was. And that's why this is so powerful. All right, so let's do one more of those. Let's pick a different issue, memory, or statement. Or situation, or you could do a statement. You can do whatever you want on this last one. So this is the fourth one we're doing today. Pick whatever it is you want to balance. You put it on a scale of 0 to 10. And then you determine your crossover pattern. So we're down here in step 3. Close your eyes. Repeat the belief statement until you feel it shift. So that's 2 to 5 minutes there. Make sure you're breathing. Make sure you're hydrated. Once you feel your shift, you lock in the change. Fingertips are together, eyes are closed for 10 seconds, thinking about the best feeling. If you did a statement, you can keep repeating the statement until it's locked in. Eyes closed for 10 seconds, eyes open for 10 seconds. And the reason why we do eyes opened and eyes closed is internal, so you're creating internal information. Eyes opened is external, right? So you're connecting back to the external world when your eyes are open. Very cool. All right, and then post-test. So you're either going to say your statement or you're going to go back to the issue and think about it and just notice what the differences are from where you started to what it feels like now. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate it in your system? Right? It should be coming down the scale. If you don't think it came down the scale enough, sit there for a few seconds, breathe and hydrate, and then come back and just check it again. If it still hasn't come down enough, I want you to go back and repeat the process. And maybe sit there a little bit longer. Sometimes people will think they've got a shift because they sneezed or they inhaled or, right? But if you need to sit there longer, let it sit there longer. Sometimes this neuroplasticity reaches all kinds of different areas in your brain and it's triggering different things going on. So we want to get as deep as we can and let that stuff really desynchronize and start to come undone. All right, and then celebrate. Make sure you're writing all of this stuff down. All right, so I think I set this slide deck up so I could go through all this in little chunks at a time, and I forgot to move through it. But anyway, so here this is. I think I'm actually going to stick this slide deck into the course itself, so you can look at this slide deck and have it to go through. It might make it easier without me talking because it just kind of goes through it. Determine the crossover pattern for a whole brain posture. Remember this was doing that. So crossing one ankle over the top of the other. Muscle test or feel the position. Notice what you're feeling. You want the one that feels the best, always feels the strongest, right? And the reason is because the hemispheres of your brain from one side of the other, when you cross midline of your body, you're going to get a different sensation, especially if you're thinking about something specific. And so that can change. It can be any combination of 4 different directions, right? So you want to make sure you find the strongest one. This one's for your ankles. Here's for your wrists. And then we're on to step 3, determining the crossover pattern was that first part. And then you close your eyes. You're balancing the belief in step 3 right here. You're changing the belief. Part number 4 or step number, let's see, part 4 of step 3 is locking in the change. And then step 4 is post-testing, putting it back on the scale and celebrating. The reason we celebrate is so important because you want to get those neurochemicals up high in conjunction with this new thought process. Okay, whether you've relieved yourself of an old memory, a belief, or you've seeded your mind with a new statement, you want that dripping with really good neurochemicals. And even a little celebration, even just standing like Superman or Wonder Woman for a second, will give you a boost of good neurochemicals. So resituate your posture, clap your hands a few times, give yourself a woohoo or a fist bump or whatever your thing is, and make sure you celebrate that into your system. Very, 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 very good thing to do. All right, I think that is it on, there's our little good statement thing. I really didn't roll through this deck at all, did I? I'll stick this in there so you can take a look at it. But go ahead and do all of these good statements to balance. There's a couple different sheets of them on there that'll just give you basic ideas, and it'll straighten out some reversals in your system probably. And then go on with some of the bigger things that you've got confronting you. If you need help, don't hesitate to shoot me an email. If you are struggling in any way, shape, or form, let's make a plan to get together or to get on Skype or whatever we need to do and work it out. All right. Blessings and peace. That is how you balance a statement or an issue. And I will be talking to you again soon.